my least favorite part of any haunted location story, which is the part where I get to call ghost tour guides liars.
Boo! You hate them.
Dude, birdies for days, which is funny. Do you golf?
Cheers, you motherfucker. Do that first.
Cheers. It feels so not as cool not being in person with you, man.
We got to move to Philadelphia.
Why don't you move to Colorado?
No, I've already done that.
Oh shit, you're right.
Why don't you come to Philadelphia, dude?
I don't know. I think that
just come to visit, dude.
It's the city of brotherly love, and I get that, but what if I want sisterly love, man?
We got sisters here.
I get that there's sisters there, but it's not sisterly love, man. It's different.
There's a cross.
When I think of brotherly love, I think of all my friends that had brothers, and I don't know if that's what I want in my life. Hey, come over here. I'm gonna fucking shoot you with an airsoft gun 30 times in the face, or oh, so I went paintballing this week. Did you know that?
Did I know that you went paintballing?
Yeah.
No, I haven't talked to you.
Yeah. So, anyways,
you're in family time, and you're on. I
went paintballing this last weekend.
Nice. You just
told why I was completely unavailable
in one conversation.
Completely unavailable.
You're 80.
Well, I'm just saying brotherly stuff. Yeah. I understand.
You know where brotherly love?
I'm kind of going all over things, right?
You know where the brotherly love came from? When William Penn came up with Philadelphia, his whole idea was to let slaves and everyone know that this is a town for equal opportunity, and that if people came to Philadelphia, they would be united as one, as the city of brotherly love, meaning black people and white people could live together harmlessly.
Huh.
Yeah,
William Penn.
He developed.
What a guy.
Yeah.
I'm in support of it. I think that's a good idea.
Well, they still on paper, they were yeah, we're really not racist. But then they're here's the area you get.
You get this one. See where the trash river is? We're going to put you by the trash river.
You're not going to have plumbing. You're going to shit in outhouses right in the middle of the city. But you're going to be in the city. So yeah,
you're going to love it.
It's kind of how
brothers.
It's kind of how hoods were built.
Interesting.
Love. Yeah. Well,
I didn't know any of that.
I know. Well, that's why you should come here and visit.
Well,
but
I do like my history, so you're right. I should go there. I should see. I know there's a crack in the Liberty Bell. I hope it doesn't keep getting any bigger.
I don't think it will. I think they have it protected.
I think it'll just fall apart eventually.
Eventually.
You ever seen
they explain
monkeys?
They explain to you why it won't crack anymore, but I guess you'll have to come here and figure that out.
I sure will. Jamie, take us in, dude. What do we got going on today?
Well, looks like you start.
Okay.
Looks like you wrote a script and don't even fucking know what it is. So,
well, I know, but I was just going to have you do it.
I can't. I'm not going to be able to read.
I guess we're just sticking in. All right.
Stick it in. See how it feels.
Anyways, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Horror Whiskey Company. I am Peter.
And I'm Jamie.
Tonight, we're heading to Louisville. Louisville? Louisville. Which one is it?
Kentucky.
Is it Louisville?
Louisville.
We're heading to Louisville, Kentucky to talk about, and I will say this is that exaggeration, the craziest place that I have ever read about.
So every single time, you literally say this every time. I love that. You plan that, I assume?
Yeah, but it's different this time.
Do you think you say that every time that it's different? Do you really think it is?
I think this one's a little different. We have not done any of these specifically asylum haunted places. So yeah, this one's a little different this time. But anyways, before we get into that, I was thinking back on all of our episodes, going back through and listening, and I was Hey, maybe we should do this really quick. We do have a little disclaimer.
What's a disclaimer? Let me know what disclaimer is.
So real quick, this is a horror entertainment show. It is not a history class. We are already drunk and we try our best, so you don't have to sue us.
Do you worry that someone's going to sue us because we didn't give them false information?
Not in this one, but just going back through, I think this is probably something we should just do going forward.
Okay.
So I would advise you guys just don't sue us. We're not a factual show. We're an entertainment show.
Yeah. Business as usual, baby.
Are you ready to dive in to Waverly Hills Sanatorium?
I am. With pleasure would jump into that sanatorium.
All right, listeners out there, close your eyes because you're standing at the bottom of a wooded hill in southern Louisville, Kentucky. It's 1937, middle of the night. It's quiet except for the wind and the crickets. In front of you is a brick archway built into the hillside. Go ahead, step inside. The tunnel is about 500 feet long. It runs straight uphill at a very steep angle, cut through the earth. There's a cable along the ceiling, a small rail system on the floor. This tunnel was built to move pipes, steam, delivery, groceries, coal, boring stuff. Only tonight, the thing coming down the tunnel toward you isn't groceries.
Is this like a Stand By Me situation? Are you going to show me where a dead body is?
Yeah.
Are you River Phoenix and I can be Corey Haim? Meaning that you're going to die early and I'm going to live to be a shriveled up person trying to dance like Michael Jackson.
I get to write the book, I think.
Okay.
I think that's what we ended at.
You're going to you're going to get to write.
I'm going to write about you.
So
but,
I die.
But I definitely get.
I'm River Phoenix. I'm the hot one. Perfect.
Yeah, you're the hot one for sure.
I'm sorry.
I want to be Corey Feldman. I called it. Back to it. Let me do this cold open. All right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Do I have to have my closed eyes?
Yeah, you do. Okay. Anyways, you hear it before you see it. A low rattle, metal on metal. The cable starts moving overhead, and a small cart rolls out the dark towards you, and on it, wrapped in a sheet, is a body. A woman. She died about an hour ago on the 5th floor of a hospital directly above you. Tuberculosis. She was 31 years young. Up that tunnel, above your head, are 400 more people who are also going to die. Some this week, some this year. The ones upstairs, they don't know about this tunnel. They don't know about the cart. They're not supposed to because the hospital they're in was built on a very specific philosophy. Morale matters. If a patient sees enough dead bodies rolling past their window, they give up. And giving up in 1937 with no antibiotics, no cure, with tuberculosis eating you from the inside out, giving up is just dying faster. So the dead go down the tunnel quietly, one at a time, all night, for 50 years. Welcome to Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Jesus, dude.
So pour yourself something strong, because you are going to need it. Jamie, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, now that I'm back to my domain and I have the time to make a delicious cocktail.
Your domicile?
I got myself what I'm calling is the Kentucky Cure.
Oh, dude.
So it is
just the name. I have to, I don't even care what's in it. Yep. I have to give applause to the name. I'm sure the cocktail is going to be even better.
So it is a riff on the penicillin cocktail. So instead, a regular penicillin calls for 2 ounces of
Scotch,
like a Highland Scotch.
Yep.
But instead, I put in a Louisville's own old granddad bourbon as my base.
Ooh, okay.
Got myself some granddad.
Straight out of Louisville.
And from there, it's got a honey ginger syrup.
Did you make that?
Yeah, I made it today.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a special boy. It's really easy. It's just basically it's equal parts ginger, honey, water. You blend that shit up, run it through and then you strain it through a cheesecloth, and it makes your honey ginger syrup.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
and
I thought you blended the whole drink.
No, I blended.
I'm stupid.
Yeah, you just gotta listen.
Yeah.
And then lemon juice, and then it was afloat on top of a smoky scotch, which they don't make a smoky bourbon. So I just found the cheapest peated scotch I could find, and it's called the Peat Monster from Compass.
It's me!
The Peat Monster.
I'm the Peat Monster.
So let's, and then, I don't know if you can see this, there's a little ginger and a lemon on this, but look at these.
Oh, is it candied? Fuck
no,
yeah, it is.
I should have.
Oh, it's not candied ginger?
No, I didn't want to buy a whole thing. But look at this cool cocktail stick I got. It's got little skull on
Bring it up. We can't see it. You got to bring it up higher. Cool.
Yeah, on jeffbezos.com, you can get them for like $4. So.
That's fucking awesome, dude. I'm so happy that you make a cocktail for these episodes. I really, really wish. It's a bummer that you're not here because I really, really want to drink that one.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Just like the peat is really good with the ginger. It complements itself so well.
So what is the traditional penicillin? Do you have that recipe?
It's honey ginger. So it's honey ginger syrup, lemon juice, and then a Highland scotch, and then a peated scotch. As
a float.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you just switch it up and you just put the bourbon in instead of the Highland scotch.
That's it. That's my entire
Love it, dude.
I was trying to find some sort of smoky. I thought about putting a Kentucky rye on top, but I just really wanted that smoke flavor to it. And I didn't feel like lighting the glass on fire or anything like that.
Yeah, but the rye is like the same like weight, I would call it, as like your
bourbon, yeah,
traditional bourbon. So like you need that rye or the peaty scotch to really like,
yeah, exactly,
give you that nose feel.
And then until someone in Kentucky makes a peated bourbon, we'll just continue to put scotch in there. A peated scotch.
One more time, what's it called?
It's called the Kentucky Cure.
The Kentucky Cure, man, they really could use one of those. I really don't even know what to describe what I'm doing for my sponsor for this episode. I've got some High Noon pineapple. I also have open a Coors Banquet. Okay. Yep. I am shooting Pink Whitney because it is the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey's on. We're all in it now.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything specific. I didn't make a cocktail because that's your thing, man.
Yeah.
I think you did pretty great.
Thank you.
Anyways, without further ado.
Hey, that's mine. This is ridiculous.
I know, but I'm going to use it. Without further ado, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Louisville, Kentucky. Built on a hilltop, opened 1910, became one of the most notorious tuberculosis hospitals in American history. And depending on who you ask, the most haunted building in the United States.
I feel like every single Ghost Adventures episode tells you that the building that they're going into is the most haunted in the United States.
But it's about 10 to 20 places.
This is known as the most haunted place, but I think there's a town or a house in Kansas that's the most haunted house. So I think that's where they're differentiating. It's kind of like world's best cup of coffee.
What is that place called?
The place in Kansas? I don't remember.
It's it has a specific name. It's not Sally House. I think it is the Sally House.
Yes, it is.
The most haunted house in America. Anyways, cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, so before we get into the haunted part, the body shoot, the nurse who maybe didn't exist or did, we don't really know. The ghost named Timmy who plays ball. We got to do a little bit of background. Where the hell is this place? Why did it get built? Quick history. I promise it pays off. So Waverly Hills sits on a wooded hilltop in southern Louisville. Beautiful spot. Big trees, looks out over the city. And the name doesn't even come from the hospital itself. It comes from a one-room schoolhouse that was up there in the late 1800s, run by a woman named Lizzie Lee Harris. And apparently Lizzie was obsessed, like beyond obsessed, with the novels of Sir Walter Scott.
Is this guy like, he's knighted? Like,
I don't.
Walter Scott,
I mean,
like,
I'm guessing yes.
From Outlander?
Yeah. So pretty much his, what, like, you mentioned Outlander. It is, his books were pretty much like pre-Outlander. So they are historical fiction romances. Specifically centered on like the Scottish like rebellions of the like mid century, like 1500s to 1700s. Really, really strange. But yeah, anyways, nobody reads him anymore. But in 1880, this guy was pretty much like practically the Stephen King of this day. He was like the Da Vinci Code. He was Twilight. He was huge. So Lizzie names her schoolhouse after Scott's Waverly novels. And that's Waverley. That's 2 E's in there. And the only reason we're making any clarification is because it changes eventually. The local landowner, a guy named Major Hayes, hears about it, loves the name, and he slaps it on the property. Boom, we have Waverly Hill.
It's like the Wizards of Waverly Place.
Kinda.
The witches.
Yeah, and you notice from when they first started making episodes to when they're now making episodes, there's only 1 E.
Oh, maybe. Is that the same thing?
I'm just making it up. I don't know.
I've never seen it either.
I have no idea. The original one had 2 E's, and then somewhere along the way, the second E get dropped, and no one really knows when or why.
The Val just left.
Yeah, it pretty much. I don't understand what happened. Somewhere like in the 1900s, all the like color and these other like words and stuff like that just completely changed spellings. I don't really get it, but do you have any clue as to why all the spellings decided to like change from like Britons spell color COLOUR and we spell it CLOR?
I figured it was just kind of like whiskey. You know what I mean? Like they eventually
same thing.
You just drop the E if you're in Scotland.
Why?
I don't know. We just add an E in Kentucky. That's what they do. They add an E to whiskey in Kentucky, and in Scotland, they get rid of it. That's the best.
It's the same thing in Canada. They just decide that we don't need any more vowels. We got enough.
Well, how do they spell hill? Is it just HIL?
No, because it's a double consonant. See, this goes back into like old grammar rules, and like I don't really want to get into it, but I feel like it's tough. I guess Y is technically considered a vowel sometimes. That's what they call it, like the nomenclature says.
I've heard 1 is the loneliest number. You just got it, dude. It's hilarious.
Is that I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but I couldn't disagree. I can't disagree with it.
Cheers. Anyways, I'm bored, so I'm gonna start drinking.
Okay. So
hype me up, baby.
They've got this big ass hill. All right, I'm going to
pizzazz me with this beautiful story.
I'm gonna pizzazz you. You just gotta stick around. Okay. So they have this big ass hill. In 1910, they put up the first version of a hospital. And it's not a big brick monster like you've seen in the pictures if you look up Waverly Hills. It's this wooden building. It's 2 stories, 40 beds. There is not a lot to see. There's 40 beds for all of Kentucky.
How many baths?
How many baths?
Yeah, that's an important thing if you're looking for a place to live.
Bathtubs?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Man, I don't think this is a place you're looking to rent out. I think you get sent here.
Oh, I should probably put my headphones in.
How many beds? How many baths?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 40 beds, 10 baths.
10 baths. That's not bad. That's a lot of waiting in line.
For 40, it's not great.
Yeah.
But I can't even guarantee that, right? It's literally kind of like a big wood cabin that's out in the middle of these woods. So
I think of Brady Bunch, where they just all those kids are just waiting for Marcia to get out of the shower.
Dude, you're dating yourself because I have never seen an episode of the Brady Bunch.
Never watched the movies?
No, I just know it came on before Scooby-Doo.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. As you might assume, 40 beds, 10 baths doesn't go great. And I'm assuming that it's 10 baths, but it's probably 3 or 4. I'd guess maybe 2 a floor. So yeah, we're looking at 4, and it really doesn't go great. They open the doors of this place, and almost immediately it's overwhelmed. They start putting tents on the lawn. Patients start sleeping on porches. People showing up coughing blood, and there's nowhere to put them because at this point in history, Kentucky is the worst state for tuberculosis in the entire country.
Worse meaning?
Number 1 in tuberculosis deaths by 1938. They are leading the nation, which, here's your gold medal. Congratulations.
Yeah. We're first in killing. First in dying.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, dude, you ever seen what did I ask you about? The movie Bullet for the First or something like that? Number one for the bullet? Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like a watered down Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it came out before that, but either way.
Well, in Louisville, we do 2 things well. We make great bats, and we're really good at not curing our people.
Okay. 100%. You got that hickory dickory dock.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pause you for a second here because Peter's been saying TB, and I think a lot of people hear tuberculosis and they go, oh yeah, the cough disease. But I'm sure I had a cousin like that. It's the flu. Are you talking about this is very close to home, like COVID?
I've only had it 5 times. Only.
Okay. You've had tuberculosis. You made it.
No, COVID. Totally different.
Oh, okay. It's not the flu, dude. That was the bubonic plague of the 20th century, is what you're saying? They literally called it the White Plague. Oh. Oh. So TB has been around forever. They found it in the 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummies, oldest known disease in humans. Wow.
That's crazy.
In 1882, a German doctor, Robert Koch, figures out the actual bacterium that causes it. Huge deal. Nobel Prize, the works. Now they know what's killing everyone. And yeah, cure. Right? No cure for
Koch.
What?
That's Robert Koch.
What did I say? Robert Koch?
Koch?
Koch. It looks like
definitely
Koch. That's Koch.
I have no idea.
All right. So no cure.
I can see you getting redder at the moment.
I'm pissed off. For 60 plus years, they know the enemy. They just can't kill it. Sounds like how we handle diseases here. Symptoms are brutal, coughing up blood, weight loss so severe that they call it consumption because the disease was literally consuming you. Night sweats, fever, your lungs slowly rotting from the inside. Spread by coughing, crowded cities equals death factories. By the 1930s in Kentucky, #1 cause of death, period.
How are these? So they found it in 3,000-year-old mummies. this seems like something they probably should have gotten to work on, like maybe a little while ago. But also, consumption. I'm just seeing it as like this really like basic. I want to call it basic country slang. Like, yep, got just a touch of the consumption.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Aunt Janice had it well about 6 years back. Took her.
She got a touch of the consumption. But the funny thing is like you said, like they knew what it was because this guy like was like, oh yeah, it's definitely this thing. And they just couldn't do anything about it. That is like a uniquely terrifying form of helplessness.
Right? And then there's the part that I think really gets you. You ready?
Yep, hit me.
The only treatment they had at this point, the only thing doctors could prescribe was fresh air.
Fresh air?
Yeah. I thought maybe they were going to say Coca-Cola. You know what they need is some heroin.
Yeah, Coke and heroin. Nope, just fresh air. That's the medicine.
Yeah, that's it. That was the medicine. Get out in the city. Go walk around in the mountains. Go to the desert. Breathe clean air. Eat well. Rest. Pray. Maybe you'll live. Maybe you don't. This sounds like something someone from Steamboat would say. Well, just go out outside and make you feel better.
Oh, you're feeling sad? Just, you ever take a hike? You ever just go out? Imagine getting a terminal diagnosis today and the doctor's like, hey, have you ever tried Colorado?
You ever went out to those smooth mountains?
No, I haven't. Are you serious? You don't have anything to give me? Sorry.
They did that for asthma. They were like, oh, you should move to the mountains because the air is thinner. It's easier to breathe, which is actually the worst thing you can do.
Yeah. When you get higher up, the air is a little thinner. Doesn't really work, does it?
No. Well, they didn't have a chance to actually go and travel back then and like really try it for themselves. It was just all hearsay. So they just like heard that it was better in the mountains, and then they sent a bunch of people with asthma and they all died. So
that's great. I love that.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Colorado. Okay. So tuberculosis romanticism is in the 1800s was a thing. Being pale and coughing was hot for a stretch. Edgar Allan Poe's wife had it. Doc Holliday, Keats, reference whatever 1980s torture pale rocker energy fits. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that.
No, but I think that like it's 100% like we can just go to Tombstone and be like, yep, Doc Holliday is obviously the best character in the entire film. And like he's the coolest guy, definitely dying of tuberculosis.
I figure Robert Smith's probably been dying this for some time.
Well, I think that he might live forever because the disease is counting on him to kill himself. So it's really he's like, man, that guy's so sad. I don't really need to work that hard. So 1910, they're getting overwhelmed. And by the 1920s, they realize they need to build something bigger. So in 1924, they break ground on the building everyone knows, the 5-story Tudor Gothic. It looks like it belongs in a Tim Burton movie, Brick Beast. 2 years to build. It opens in 1926 and it's enormous. Jamie, we're talking about square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, 180,000 square feet. 5 stories designed to hold over 400 patients at a time. With the staff and visitors and family on top of that, you've got something like 600 plus people living on this particular hilltop at any given day. But here's the thing that broke my brain when researching this. It's not just a hospital. It's legitimately a small city. It has its own post office, its own zip code, its own farm with livestock, which I don't really know how I feel about that because, like, again, they have their own slaughterhouse because they have their own livestock. I don't want to hang out with cows that are just like hanging out with tuberculosis patients.
Well, they probably got tuberculosis themselves, so that's why they could never cure anything, because they kept eating a bunch of fucking dead, sick cows.
Maybe. Same thing with They had their own water treatment plant. Doctors and nurses, though, did live on the grounds with their families. And the children's wing on the third floor was pretty much just meant for kids with TB. There was the rooftop solarium, where patients, including children, were rolled out into the sun for what they called heliotherapy.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I guess. It's like a big square.
Yeah. So people were sunning their assholes even back then. Joe Rogan, your ideas were nothing new. So the staff had kids growing up at a TB hospital. That's a great childhood, huh? Growing up at the TB house.
Yeah, you know, some of us have speed bumps. Some of us have dead bodies. You just don't go over there.
Exactly.
Anyways, all of it, and the reason I bring this up, I think it's important, is because this gets lost in the ghost stuff. This wasn't just a place where people went to die. For the people who worked here, who lived here, this was home. Doctors raised their kids here. Nurses fell in love and got married here. And there are people who grew up running around the parking lot of a tuberculosis hospital like it was their backyard, because, in all matter of fact, it was their backyard.
Which makes me think about getting punched in the face emotionally.
Yeah, because that's pretty much where we're at. Because when the new building opened in 1926, it only served white patients. Black tuberculosis patients in Louisville were left in the original, that awful old wooden building we were talking about earlier from 1910. Yeah, that was the one that was already overcrowded 16 years earlier. The one with tents on the lawn. Well, that one was there for the black patients until the 1940s. Same hill, same disease, different building, different odds.
Well, that sucks. They should have come to Philly.
They should have, man.
Yeah, I don't think they could make it, dude. That's a far walk. Far buggy ride back then. I guess they had cars back then, but
when did Henry Ford invent the motor vehicle?
I guess it was 1942, right? Or was it 1932? It's got to be in the 30s.
Invention of motor car. Dang, dude, Carl Benz patented this shit in 1886.
That's when the car was invented? That's
apparently, dude. You wonder why benzos are dope, dude?
They are.
Dude's been doing it for like 300 years.
That's not.
Anyways,
that's not right.
No, it's not. I know it's not. Pour another one, because we're about to go inside Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Should I do another peat monster? Oh, all right.
Just ripping shots of fucking scotch. I applaud your effort.
Man, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight.
Not by choice. You're just not going to make it to bed.
We'll see. Whoa.
Ooh, okay. So, last we talked about how this place got built and how bad the tuberculosis was in Kentucky. But now we're going to go inside, because here's the thing that I think nobody's prepared for when they hear the words tuberculosis hospital. You hear that and you picture beds, doctors, maybe like a vaporizer, some chicken soup,
nice pillow, maybe
a nice fluffy pillow, maybe some get well soon flowers. That is not what is happening at Waverly Hills.
I think of like when I go to the hospital, it's always like Regis and Kathy Lee, that show, and then right after that, it would go into like The Price is Right. There was like a circular. There was like a circle of TV shows that would go that we just sit there and wait for.
Dateline, big deal.
That's at night though.
Yeah,
it was always daytime alive when I was in the hospital.
When were you in the hospital?
when I got stabbed.
Oh, damn.
I was in the hospital for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I've never been in the hospital that long. That's why I kicked this whole thing all over to you. So anyways, Jamie, you actually researched the medical side of this way more than I did. I think we should let you cook.
Okay, well, buckle in. I'm going to ruin your night. So before I get to the generally insane shit, I'm going to start with what they considered the normal treatments. The ones that were, by 1930 standards, totally fine. So, bed rest. Patients spent the majority of their time lying down, like months of lying down. The whole idea was your body needs all the energy to fight the infection, so don't move.
Netflix.
You're just harnessing energy by not moving. That's perfect.
She fucking moved. I saw her.
I wish I knew that when I was a kid, when my mom would be like, get off the couch, you're being lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm harvesting
energy.
So nutrition, they fed people constantly. Eggs, milk, butter, meat, cream. The goal was to weight gain. TB was making patients waste away, so the response was to fatten them back up. Some patients gained 30 to 40 to 50 pounds. And like we talked about before, fresh air. So remember that? That was their medicine. So Waverly is built for it. An open air porch running from the entire length of the building. Patients in beds, rolled outside, sometimes for hours. Just sitting there fucking getting sunburnt.
How much, like you said, outside? How much outside are we talking?
So like even in winter, or especially
especially in winter?
Yes. That's crazy, right?
Okay, so they're rolling people outside in... Do they get snow in Kentucky? I'm assuming they get snow in Kentucky. But like, did they roll them out in like their hospital gowns? Or did they like give them anything? Because those are kind of different, but yeah, I don't know.
I doubt it. I doubt they got Patagonias for him back then. They're like...
Yeah, I mean, but they had nothing. They were just like set outside. Man, that's crazy.
Like we said earlier, they were the leader in killing people with tuberculosis. This is not... So they might be doing this wrong. But yeah, they're bundled up. They had blankets, hot water bottles, but there are photos, and you can find these online. They're not hard to find, of patients in beds on porches at Waverly Hills with snow on top of their blankets.
That's so fucking ridiculous. Like, how can anyone that's trying to not die from a disease be like, I'm fine to be outside with all the snow. It's fine.
You know what's really good for somebody that's sick is to get a high temperature and a really low temperature.
And then immediately change it.
Just drop it. Just offset it really quick. Really, it's kind of like jump starting your motorcycle.
Smacking them in the face. It's like, hey, immune system, wake up.
This is just like the 1930s way of cold plunging. It's good to shock your system.
We're back to Joe Rogan again, man. You're not wrong, dude.
This is Huberman, baby.
Yep. They're pretty much cold plunging their bodies.
Yeah. The theory was cold air kills bacteria. Fresh, cold, mountain-style air is what your lungs need. So they would just have to leave you out there for therapeutic purposes.
Yeah, this is like their medical version of like toughen the fuck up and rub some dirt on it, right?
This is the medical version of throwing your kid in the deep end and saying, I hope they learn how to swim.
Okay, so doctors are always crazy, right? I think we are maybe now in like the version of the world that like normal people can be doctors, but doctors used to be the craziest ones, right? Where they're like, I don't know, we should see what happens to this person when they're subjected to like 35,000 pounds of force. I don't know what happens to human bodies when what kind of thing happens, but maybe we should do that. These guys are pretty much saying like, hey, you ever tried weather?
Yeah.
bacteria grows in like hot climates. So maybe if we don't give you one of those, it'll be good for your body. Like, go be chilly. It's going to work for you.
Well, so that's the normal stuff. The fresh air, the food, the rest. Now let's talk about what they did when that didn't work. We're getting into heliotherapy. The idea of cold air helps, sunlight should help too.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it does sound nice. Very spa-like.
Like a wellness retreat.
Oh, yeah. Well, until you hear that what they actually did with their patients, including kids, including infants, out on the rooftop solarium of Waverly Hills, sometimes naked or close to it for hours at a time to soak up the UV.
Okay, I don't know like how this went, but like I'm assuming that it's not like free reign. It's pretty like caged in. So you got naked babies just like wandering around the roof for fucking hours.
Naked babies on the roof, baby.
Of a tuberculosis hospital?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not
going to say that naked babies on the roof.
Well, you don't have to.
Anyways.
You've already heard it.
Okay, but like, are they getting sunburned or like, are these kids getting cooked? Like, how does this actually work?
Yeah, that's why they say because of this, of how they treated people with tuberculosis in the 1930s in Louisville, that's why people named Peter actually have small little shriveled wieners, is because they were naturally cooked. And so it was a birth defect that was carried over.
Specifically for people named Peter.
Specifically. I don't know why.
That's crazy, dude.
Right? And
that's
listen,
crazy. I've never heard that before.
All that aside, there's some actual science to this. Vitamin D protection from UV exposure does help your immune system. So what they weren't completely wrong or making it up, but the application of it. Pediatric patients naked on a roof for hours in the 1930s Kentucky summers is rough as shit. And there's the detail that I think makes this haunted as hell. That rooftop solarium where the kids were is one of the most active paranormal hotspots in this area today. People hear Ring Around the Rosie being sung up there all the time.
Okay, so isn't Ring Around the Rosie like famously about the plague? And like from not like this era, but like way before this?
Yep.
And weren't those kids like mostly dying of plague?
Yep.
Okay, that's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
That's an awful detail.
Yeah. Now we escalate. This is where it stops being spa day and starts being what the actual fuck. Okay. So here's where we leave the fresh air, sunshine, eat your eggs stage of this treatment. Because a lot of patients, that wasn't working. They were getting worse. The TB was eating their lungs and nothing the doctor did was slowing it down. So the doctors decided, and stay with me here, their lungs needed rest.
Okay, sure.
Like, we've been working too hard, coughing and wheezing, fighting infection. So if you let them stop working for a while, they could heal. So
okay, I mean, like,
choked them out.
Theoretically, so far, this seems pretty okay.
Well, so they figured out a way to make their lungs stop working.
How did they do that?
They collapsed them, obviously.
What? They collapsed your lung?
Yep, on purpose.
On purpose?
It's called artificial pneumothorax. Pneumothorax? I can't pronounce it. You know that. I'm from Wyoming.
Pneumothorax.
Pneumothorax. What did I say? Pneumotox? Yeah.
Pneumotox. Yeah, that's pretty
I like
bad,
pneumotox.
though. Either way, I think I like pneumotox better.
Me too. They would stick a needle in your chest cavity into the space between your lung and your chest wall, and the space is called the pleural. pleural space, and they would pump air into it, just like regular air. And the process of the air would compress the lung from the outside until it deflated, like a balloon losing its shape.
How does a patient breathe at that point?
They breathe with their other lung. Duh.
Okay, so they're just like, hey, we're going to cancel this one. We're going to like, I mean, I don't know. I get it. I guess I get it. Like, you let the one lung rest and you let the other one just like completely collapse so it doesn't have to work. I feel like they're just like defaulting to raw dogging on one lung.
Well, it's kind of like where like you lose one sense, you gain another kind of thing. Like, so maybe like
I think that's the case.
One of your lungs breaks down, so the other one just like picks up the slack and works like
superhero lung.
Yeah. One lung does all the work while the other one chills out in a state of permanent vacation. And supposedly while it's collapsed and not doing anything, the TB lesions inside of it can heal. And then when they let the air out, the lung would reinflate and you'd be theoretically better.
Okay. So this actually worked?
Sometimes it actually worked, but we're talking about we're talking about a procedure where they're injecting air into the chest cavity with a needle, pre-antibiotics, pre-modern sterile technique, and the patients had to come back to do this over and over because the air would slowly get reabsorbed by the body. So you'd come in like once a month and get it recollapsed.
You get recollapsed, like you just take a lung and just like, yep, collapse me, bro.
Yeah, get it recollapsed.
Okay. I guess that's a verb now.
It is definitely a verb now. There's a related procedure where instead of air, they'd surgically implant a balloon into your chest cavity and inflate it to do the same thing. That's actually one of the things ghost tours love to talk about, but it gets exaggerated into they were stuffing of balloons into people's lungs, which isn't quite right. The balloons were in the pleural space, same idea like the air injection.
Either way, like, I get it. It's not like into the actual lung. It's actually even worse because it's outside. So it just like, there's just like a balloon inside of you that just collapses your lung because it doesn't want you to breathe. Oh my God.
Old balloon lungs over here.
All right. This is terrifying, but like, we're talking about the fact that you're like, oh yeah, we're just going to take a balloon. We're going to blow your lung out. It's not going to matter. Just get rid of that one. It doesn't matter. Well, you got the one, right? That's Lance Armstrong pitch, right? Like, he's got one ball. He'll be all right, right?
Yeah. So pre-modern medicine in general, every procedure was just a guy with a tool he wasn't sure about and hadn't even really tested it yet.
Okay. So I admit that like these doctors don't know what the fuck they're doing, but like this stuff for the most part isn't like obscene things. They're like doing the best that they have. I guess I don't really understand how this could get a whole lot worse.
Well, if it didn't work, and a lot of times it didn't, they had a backup option. So this was the centerpiece. If the air injects didn't work, if the lung keeps getting infected, kept producing fluid, kept failing to heal, there was one more option before just letting the patients die. It was called Thoracoplasty. Did I say that right, doctor?
Dude. No, I think you nailed it, but I have no idea what it means.
It means they would remove their ribs.
Like Marilyn Manson?
Exactly. Not for that reason.
How many ribs?
Not for
like
that
just reason. The bottom two, so they can like do their thing.
Nope, 7 to 8.
7 to 8 ribs on one side.
Could you imagine how much pain? Just fucking kill me. I wouldn't want to live after that. Not having 8 ribs.
Okay, so you're missing like 3/4 of the ribs. I guess. Yeah, you have 12 ribs at birth.
Yeah. So you have over half. You're damn near 83% of your ribs are
damn
gone.
near. And what's the reason on this one?
Same idea as the pneumothorax. I can't say it.
Oh, the pneumothorax.
The pneumothorax. It's a great book you can pick up from Dr. Seuss.
Yep. And when I was chopping down those ribs, I thought to myself, what would be best for these kids? They chopped down the trees and they chopped down the branches and they chopped off the ribs of their biggest French blanches.
Asses. So with the ribs gone, the chest wall had nothing holding it rigid.
Oh my God.
So it collapsed inward permanently. And when the chest wall collapsed, the lung underneath it is permanently compressed. Permanent pneumothorax. I can't say it. I hate that.
You got
pneumothorax. The lung never works again. But the TB infection inside it should heal because the lung isn't working.
I don't understand the fucking point. The lung never works again. And you walk around with like 7 fewer ribs.
This is kind of like at the end of The Last Final Destination when they like drown themselves until they're dying for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the rest of your life, you have 7 less ribs, and you're just a shell of a human.
I don't understand. So like, what does it look like to like, do you do it? I'm imagining they keep the very top ribs because they're trying to get the lungs. So they're the lower part. It's just like,
yeah, it would be
you just
right
look
here,
like
right?
You don't have a fucking body on one side.
You think you think they take them from one side and that's it?
Yes. Well, I assume so because like
there's 6 on each side, right? Yeah, because you would be taking it from the one side that you don't want to collapse, correct?
Yeah, you're trying to keep your one, like, I mean, the biggest problem lung, you're trying to like, for whatever reason, completely deflate. So
Makes
you're going to be like,
yep,
we're just getting rid of all the ribs. We're just going to like deflate the entire thing. Bitch, you going to be skinny.
Yeah. Well, have you thought about removing your lungs or getting tuberculosis? Because I hear you lose weight unless they make you eat a lot of butter.
Yeah, here's the deal. You can eat a shit ton of butter. We'd actually prefer it if you took your ribs out and ate a bunch of butter. Anyways, I don't know. This shit, like, I don't know how the surgery works. They don't have, I know they have anesthesiology stuff at this point, but like, they don't have any, like, disinfectant, do they?
No,
I don't really know. Do they break them or do they cut them? Anyways, I know you don't know the answers to that. So
then quit asking me.
Yeah.
Look it up. Google it, my friend.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, continue.
So the answer in order, yes, it would visibly cave in. Patients who survived Thoracoplasty had a permanent and pretty dramatic deformity on one side of their chest. People could tell just looking at you that you've had it done. No shit. The mortality rate is hard to pin down because it's varied wildly by hospital and surgeon. But this was considered the last resort for a reason. A lot of people did not survive the surgery itself, and the ones who did had to go through it in stages. They couldn't take all 7 of the ribs out at once because you'd probably die.
Oh my God.
So they'd take 2 or 3 at a time, let you recover for a few weeks, and then come back and take a few more. Multiple surgeries over months.
This is not treatment, dude. That's like a campaign against your ribs, against your body.
Yeah. And the alternative was death. So people did it. Thousands of people did it. And a lot of them at Waverly Hills. I would die. I would just be like, fuck it, dude.
Well, that's kind of where we're at.
And the last detail before we move on, you know what they didn't have in 1935?
Anesthesia. Did they have anesthesia, at least?
Yes, they had anesthesia. They had either, but what they did not have, and this is the part that gets me, they did not have antibiotics. So the surgery itself, where they literally opened your chest and removed your structural bone, was happening without any way to prevent infection afterwards. So you'd survive the surgery, and then a chunk of patients would die a week later from a wound infection, just from the surgery site.
Okay, so you're treated for tuberculosis, and you're killed by the treatment for tuberculosis?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't, my friend.
Yeah, this is like the traditional, like the cure is worse than the disease being true. Like the mental image of a patient being told your only option is we cave your chest in. How do you even think that is the right thing for you?
I don't know, man. I'm starting to think that people in Louisville just thought a little different back then.
Well, that's fair, but this, from what we've kind of looked through, is this wasn't just a Louisville thing. This is a global standard as far as how people were treating tuberculosis patients. Hospitals all over the world were doing this. Streptomycin, the actual cure, was discovered in 1943 by a PhD student at Rutgers named Albert Schatz. Now, he made this available to Waverly at 1949. So all of this, the air injections, the rib removals, the snow on the blankets, was happening in a window when they were so close to having actual antibiotics. Maybe years away. People were getting their ribs removed in 1944. The discovery was had in 1943. So I don't understand why this wasn't there. The cure was already in a lab at this point. We've been upstairs. We've talked about what was happening in the rooms, on the porches, in the surgery suites. But now we go down because while all that was happening, the deflating, the deboning, the snow on the blankets, there was a tunnel underneath the whole property that was already mentioned at the top of this episode. And it has its own story.
This is the body chute.
This is the body chute.
Even just the name is metal as hell.
Right. We already lost. As soon as something is called the body chute, you know you're not getting this conversation away from you, and you're not leaving in a good mood. Okay, so here's what it actually was before the legend. The body chute is a tunnel. It's about 500 feet long, and it runs from the basement of the main hospital building straight down the hill to a road at the bottom, and it's brick lined. It's got a steep grade, you couldn't walk up it easily. And originally, it was built for two things. One, there's a steam plant down at the bottom of the hill, and the tunnel carried steam pipes up the hill to the hospital to heat it. Practical infrastructure, it's kind of boring. Two, supplies. Coal, food deliveries, stuff that would come up the tunnel on a small rail and cable system. Yes, originally just a maintained tunnel, steam pipes, supply runs, super normal until it got promoted. So in the late 1920s and early 1930s, as TB cases at the Waverly start really climbing, this is the era we talked about, deflating lungs era, they run into a logistical problem. People are dying. A lot of people are dying. And those bodies need to leave the hospital, get to a funeral home, they get to a cemetery. That's a normal hospital problem. Waverly isn't a normal hospital. Waverly is a hilltop sanatorium with hundreds of patients and beds on porches and solariums looking out of the windows every day, all day.
And they look back out the window and see?
Well, if they look at the window and see a hearse rolling up to the front door of the hospital every single day, sometimes more than once a day, that's a serious problem because the entire treatment philosophy at Waverly was morale matters. Hope is medicine. If you give up, you die faster. So if you're coughing up blood at 2 p.m. and you watch your roommate get loaded into the back of a hearse at 2:15.
Yeah, I'd give up.
Yeah, you'd give up. So they made a decision. The dead would not leave the hospital through the front door. The dead would leave through the tunnel.
The tunnel. Sounds like a great horror movie for this. I'm surprised no one has ever done
it. We'll get to that later. But anyways, no one had any idea. That's the whole point. The funicular system that was bringing bodies up the hill or down the hill, I guess, they started using it to bring supplies up the hill. They started using it to bring bodies down. They would wrap the body in the sheet, place it in a cart, and send the cart down the tunnel. At the bottom, a hearse would be waiting on a road that was hidden from the hospital by the hillside. The body gets transferred to a hearse. The hearse drives away. From the patient's perspective upstairs, nothing really happened. Nobody died today.
The people are dying every day.
Sometimes multiple people died in one day, especially during the bad years. And we'll get into the actual numbers in a minute because there's a whole legend around the death toll. But the point is, the tunnel was running constantly, all hours, all night, for decades. And here's the thing I keep getting stuck on. The thing that I think, okay, this isn't conspiracy. I'm just being normal. But the thing that gets me about the body chute is that it's not ghoulish. It's not evil.
What do you mean?
So when you first hear the words body chute, you picture like a Universal Monsters movie. Igor cackling in a dungeon, throwing corpses down a slide.
Frankenstein's basement, dude.
Yeah, exactly, Frankenstein's basement. But that's not what this was. This was a hospital staff that was honestly trying to be kind. They built a system to hide death from dying people because they thought it would help them live longer or get better. That's the whole reason this chute exists. It's not ghoulish. It's kind of the opposite. It's hope. It's just hope with a lot of dead bodies attached.
You kind of like bringing the brain back online, like total Frankenstein, like secret tunnel for bodies trope in a horror movie. Every haunted hospital movie has one, and Waverly Hills is where it actually existed. So you think about...
This is a really tough thing.
I think of Frankenstein. I think of literally the top of the tower, Dr. Frankenstein, with all the windows are open. They're just like shooting electricity.
Yep. And then it goes down to the basement where the monster's being held. Right? Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, we don't really talk about what's down there. The fact that we named this tunnel the body chute today, well, that's a name from the ghost tour era, not the hospital era. The hospital staff would never have called it that. It was just the tunnel. We renamed it for spookiness after the fact. And the body chute is still there. You can walk today. The tunnel is still alive. The hospital still has it. They open it up for night tours, for paranormal tours, the haunted house events, all of it. People walk down it constantly now. And you can probably guess what happens.
Lots of activity.
Yeah, lots of activity. Shadow figures, voices, EVPs, those are electric voice phenomena. Audio recordings where people claim to hear voices that weren't there at the time. The body chute is one of the most recorded paranormal hotspots in the entire building. Ghost Hunter did EVP work down there. Ghost Adventures did EVP work down there. BuzzFeed Unsolved did EVP work down there. We're going to get all those shows into all the shows later, but that's a whole chapter of its own.
Do you think they got anything?
It honestly depends on who you ask.
According to them in the show, they all got something.
Yep. So before we get to ghosts, we have to talk about something more important because the body chute is real. The bodies are real. The tunnel is real. The number of bodies, what you've heard about how many people died at Waverly Hills, though, is almost completely made up.
What? Oh, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so you should be, because we're going to tear apart the most famous lie about this hospital, which is that 63,000 people died here.
Are you ready for this?
I don't think you're ready for this, Kelly. No, they didn't. They super didn't. Okay, so now we get into my least favorite part of any haunted location story, which is the part where I get to call ghost tour guides liars.
Boo! Ghost tours. You hate them.
Well, here's the thing about haunted places, and I want to be fair because I love all of this. I genuinely do. But ghost tours are a business. They're selling an experience, and the more dramatic the experience, the more people pay, which means there is a built-in incentive to take a real, often genuinely sad piece of history and juice it up. Add a number, add a body, some horrifying detail, and after 30, 40, 50 years of telling the same story to tourists, the juiced up version becomes the version that everyone knows.
And then it shows up on that BuzzFeed list you were talking about.
Yep. And then a Wikipedia editor with no time to verify it puts it on the article, and now it's a Wikipedia fact.
So what are we busting today then, Pete?
So we have three big ones. We have the death toll. We've got something called the blood draining room, which is so good. I can't wait to get to it. And we've got a stat about how often people were dying. Every single one of these is wrong in a way that I find, honestly, genuinely funny.
So, without further ado,
myth number one, the big one. The one you've heard if you've ever heard anything about Waverly Hills. 63,000 people died at this hospital.
That's the number.
That's the number. It is on tour brochures and on the Wikipedia page. It depends on the day. It has been said on ghost tours, and ghost hunters have claimed it. By the actual owner of the building, it is the Waverly Hills statistic.
And it's still wrong.
And it's wrong. It is wrong by an order of magnitude. Let me do the math for you, because the math is a joke. Waverly Hills operated a tuberculosis hospital from 1910 to 1961. Let's call that 51 years. If 63,000 people died there over 51 years...
That means you did some math.
Okay, so I did the math. That means that there are 1,235 deaths per year, which is about 3.5 deaths per day, every day, for 51 straight years.
Every day.
Including Christmas.
No, people don't die on Christmas. That's Jesus's birthday.
It's not right. It's not even close to right.
How would they even staff that? Like, who's running the funicular at that point? That's a lot of bodies.
So many bodies. So what's the actual number? Well, it's honestly hard to pin down exactly because, and this is part of the problem, Waverly's records are incomplete. In 1937, Louisville flood destroyed a chunk of the pre-1935 records. After the hospital closed in 1961, more records were just thrown out. Nobody was careful archiving the death certificates of TB Hospital that was about to be empty. But what historians and researchers may have been able to piece together, looking at state records, county records, and the testimony of people who actually worked there, this real number is probably somewhere around 8,000.
So, 63,000 minus 8,000 is
55,000 imaginary deaths.
That's fucking insane.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's my favorite source on this. There was an assistant medical director at Waverly named Frank Stewart. He wrote an autobiography after the hospital was closed, and he gave specific numbers from the inside. According to Stewart, the worst single year at Waverly Hills, the absolute peak, saw 152 deaths.
152 is the worst year.
Yeah, it's the worst year. And the worst years weren't even during prime TB era, according to them. They were post-World War II, late 1940s, when soldiers came back to Europe and the Pacific carrying TB they'd picked up overseas.
So when the ghost tour says thousands died every single year,
they're off by a factor of about 10. From what I can tell, the max was 152 in 1 year. The average was significantly lower. Conspiracy energy leans on these things. Where do these numbers come from? Is there someone out there that says like, oh, yep, 8,000 deaths and the time that this place existed just isn't quite enough. Maybe we should just make it up. I don't really understand how you go from 8,000 up to 63,000 without someone getting involved.
Yeah, so it's kind of like McLovin when he made his ID.
Yeah.
You're 25? Why wouldn't you just say 21?
Why would you say 21?
It's like, why don't we stretch out how many people died in this? That way it could be the most haunted place.
Have you seen the interviews with Jonah Hill after Christopher Mintz-Blatt's like interview?
No.
He's like, I fucking hate that dude. Please don't cast him. And they're like, yeah, we definitely have to cast this guy. He literally like Jonah Hill fucking hates him. We have to cast this kid.
Why do you hate him so much? He is hilarious.
He's a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they just yelled at each other the entire time. He like, I don't know. Kid nailed the role, I think.
They both did.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. The way these numbers spread is genuinely fascinating. One person says it on TV, the internet runs with it, and then suddenly it's common knowledge. Chain emails, the era when I read it on the internet, it still meant something.
Yeah, the fact that the real number 8,000 is already horrifying. 8,000 people died, slow, miserable diseases, deaths in this one building. And that's enough. I don't understand, again, why they had to make up another 55,000 imaginary people. But okay, that's the death toll. Now, let me tell you about a room, a specific room, a room with a name that when I read it, myth number 2. So if you ever taken the Waverly night tour, and I have not, I want to, but I have not. At some point, the tour guide walks you down to the first floor of the hospital and stops at this little room. There's a big, heavy metal door. It's like industrial looking. There's no windows. It's old. And the guide says in their best ominous tour guide voice, this is the blood draining room. This is where the staff would hang TB corpses up on hooks, slice them open from pelvis to sternum, and then drain the infected fluids straight down the sewer into the floor before shipping the bodies out.
That sounds wonderful.
It's the best one for sure. It's the most fucking metal one.
Hooks, sewer, drain, top to bottom slicing. This is where horror got its niche.
Yeah. It's complete bullshit though.
Of course it is. How much bullshit is this?
Okay, so there are 3 reasons why this is all total bullshit. Reason number 1, and this is my favorite, somebody actually pulled the original architecture drawings of the building, both in 1924 set and the 1962 update. On both sets of drawing, and the spot where the blood draining room supposedly is, the room is clearly labeled in old-timey draftsman's handwriting, Transformer Room.
Ooh. It's the electrical closet.
Yep, it's literally just an electrical closet.
That's incredible.
And reason number 2, the heavy metal door that's part of the spooky vibe, it's literally stamped on the door itself, fire protection, because that's what it is. It's a fire-related electrical service room.
The clue is on the door.
The clue is on the door. You don't even have to look it up. You just have to read what's written on the door that you're standing in front of.
I love it.
And reason number 3, the most basic one, hospitals don't process bodies. Like, that's not a thing that hospitals do. When a patient dies, the body goes to a funeral home or a coroner. The funeral home handles the preparation. The hospital's job is to call somebody, sign a death certificate, and let professionals come by and pick the body up. There has never been a moment in American medical history where doctors and nurses were gutting and draining their own patients in-house.
So it's not just the wrong room, it's the wrong about how the hospitals work completely.
Yeah, it's wrong on every axis simultaneously.
$40 to be scared of an electrical closet. It's real Scooby-Doo level unmasking that they're talking about.
People have been paying $40 a head to walk into an electrical closet and get told this same horror story for 30 years now.
Honestly, that's its own kind of art form.
It really is. I'm kind of mad I'm exposing it. But anyways, the audacity of just making up a room. Like, there isn't even a half-truth. This isn't, we exaggerated the number. This is, there's a fuse box here, and we built an entire horror set around it. Who started this? Who walks past a transformer room and goes, you know what would make this a whole lot scarier? A draining hook ceiling situation.
Ooh, reference the broader ghost tour pulls something out of thin air pattern. Every haunted location has one of these. Eastern State has the experimental ward. Trans-Aldry has the violent ward. Waverly has the electrical closet.
The fact that you know it's a transformer room, you can't really unhear it. Someone listening to this in their car is going to take a Waverly tour next October and have to bite their tongue when the guide takes them into the transformer room, and we've ruined it forever. You're welcome. Okay, one more myth. This one's another math problem. Now, myth number 3. This is the one that there's quick because it's the same kind of math problem we already did. You sometimes hear at the peak of the TB deaths at Waverly, one person was dying every hour.
Wait a minute. Peter, we did this math.
We already did the math.
That's 24 deaths a day.
And we established that the worst year was 152 deaths. So, if one person was dying every hour for an entire year, there will be 8,760 deaths in a single year, which is more than the entire 51-year total of the actual hospital.
So this myth is saying that one bad year at Waverly was worse than all 51 years combined.
Correct.
That's wild, dude.
Okay, what probably happened, what I'm guessing actually happened, is that during the absolute worst stretches, post-World War II, peak TB, you may have had a week there were 1 or 2 deaths a day, maybe even 3 on the worst day. And because of that, over the years, that gets retold as 1 person per hour, because that sounds way more dramatic, and nobody does the math.
You did the math, dude.
I sure as shit did the math. All 3 myths are wrong. The death toll is wrong by like 700%. The blood draining room is an electrical closet, and the 1 death per hour stat would mean that Waverly had a year that was worse than its entire recorded history combined. And here's the thing, and this is the thing that I keep coming back through throughout this entire episode. The real story is bad enough.
It really is.
8,000 people died slow, painful deaths from a disease nobody could cure. The treatments included getting their ribs removed and being left in the snow. Their bodies were sent down a tunnel, hidden from view because the hospital believed that seeing death would kill the people watching. You don't need to invent 55,000 ghosts to make this place horrifying. It's already horrifying.
And speaking of ghosts, we haven't even started talking about the ghosts.
No, we haven't at all.
We still haven't talked about the most famous ghost in the building. Room 502.
Room 502, which, well, that's its own thing because Room 502 has a name attached to it. A name of a woman who died there in 1928. And when we try to find her in any official record of Kentucky, well,
spoiler!
Big spoiler.
She ain't real.
So I told you before that we still had to talk about the most famous ghost in this building, and that's true. But I lied a little bit because room 502 isn't really a ghost story, or it is, but the ghost is actually the least interesting version of what happened there. What room 502 actually is a 100-year-old cold case.
A real one.
Maybe a real one. That's the whole problem. That's why we're spending extra time on this. Because depending on which source you trust, what happened in room 502 is either a tragedy, a murder cover-up, or, this is the wild one, something that never happened at all.
All right. Walk me through this then.
So, the legend, the story you'll get on the night tour, the story that's been retold hundreds of times in books and on TV, goes like this. In 1928, a young woman named Mary Hillenburg was the head nurse at Waverly Hills Sanatorium. She was 29 years old, unmarried, and according to legend, she was pregnant.
In 1928, unmarried and pregnant?
Yep. Which
you think gonna like that?
Nope. God hates pregnant single women. In 1928 Kentucky, that was a huge problem. Problem with capital letters. We're talking about total social ruin, loss of job, loss of family, loss of any future. So the story goes, Mary was found one morning in room 502 of the hospital, hanging from the light fixture in the ceiling. She had killed herself. The shame of being pregnant and unmarried, working in a Catholic-influenced hospital in a small southern city in 1928 was too much to bear.
That's the official story.
Yep, that's the legend. And if you go to Waverly Hills today, that's the story you're going to hear. Mary Hillenburg, head nurse, 29 years old, hanged herself in 1928. She is a spirit that tour guides say still haunts the 5th floor. People claim to hear voices in 502, lights turning on when the building is empty, shadowy figures in the window, the famous "get out" disembodied voice. It's all tied to Mary.
So, that's the first version. Suicide.
And if you stop the story there, it's tragedy. End of a legend. But the story doesn't stop there, because almost as soon as the legend starts circulating, a darker version started circulating with it. And this version says Mary didn't kill herself. Not exactly.
So what are you talking about here, Pete?
This version says that Mary was pregnant by one of the doctors at Waverly Hill, a married doctor. She told him about the pregnancy. He panicked because if it got out, his career, his marriage, and his life were over. So he convinced her to let him perform an abortion in secret in room 502 in 1928 without, and I cannot stress this enough, without anesthesia, without sterile tools, without modern surgical training, in a TB hospital where dozens of patients were literally dealing with open infections.
So how do we get from secret abortion to hanging from a light fixture?
That's where the version of this story kind of gets dark. The story is that the abortion went wrong. Mary started bleeding badly. The doctor realized he was about to be standing over a dead nurse with a procedure he wasn't licensed to do in a room with no witnesses. So he panicked, and he staged her body to look like a suicide.
Hung her up after.
Yep, he hung her up after, and there's a very specific detail that goes with this version of the story. When Mary's body was found, her clothes were soaked with blood from the waist down.
Ooh.
Yep, it's a hell of a detail. It's one of those details that is specific enough to be true or to be invented by someone who wanted you to believe it.
This is wild. So this version is a botched abortion cover. Did the investigators just completely ignore the fact that she was covered in blood with a surgical wound, then pronounce dead by her hanging? Like, how the fuck did you fuck that up? Is there any documentation on this detail? Like, who saw this? Who, either way, she's dead. But the difference doesn't matter?
I don't know. I think the difference between her being her suicide and her killing herself, like suicide versus her being strung up by another person, is a big deal. I feel like it'd be very difficult as an investigator or someone that even cared to look into it to notice.
They're like, well, anyways, looks like she tried to do some sort of emergency surgery on herself. And when that didn't work, she went ahead and hung herself.
She jumped up and tried to make a 3-pointer, got hooked on this rope hanging from this light. Who put that there? She's a regular Stephanie Curry.
Yeah, that's terrible, dude. You're being terrible right now.
Okay. So anyways, all of this does matter a lot because if one version is true, if she killed herself, that's a tragedy and there's nobody to hold accountable except a society that made her feel like she had to kill herself as the only option. But if version 2 is true, somebody killed her. By accident, sure. By panic, but somebody else is responsible. And whoever the doctor was, he walked away from this. He kept his job, he kept his marriage, he went home for dinner. And Mary, she went in the ground.
That's so fucked up.
Yep.
And then obviously, because this guy is probably so high up in this town, in tuberculosis town, that no one would ever,
man.
No one ever investigated anything.
Yeah, nobody investigated, which we'll get into because this is 1928. A young, unmarried, pregnant nurse dies under suspicious circumstances at a hospital. In 2024, that's a homicide investigation. But in 1928, well, it's just a closed casket and a quiet funeral. And then there's version 3, which I want to flag up front. This version comes mostly from psychic mediums and paranormal investigators. So take it with a whole shaker of salt. But I think it's worth telling you because it shows how stories like this evolve.
I don't know, man. Some mediums are right.
All right. Anyways, version 3 says that Mary's death wasn't a suicide and it wasn't a botched abortion. It was a murder.
It's a murder.
And not by one person, by 4 people. According to this version, the doctor who got Mary pregnant didn't perform the abortion. He conspired with an orderly and 2 members of the hospital's board of directors to get rid of her before she could go public about their affair. The 4 of them allegedly held her down and then hanged her together, then staged the scene to look like a suicide.
A 4-person conspiracy.
A 4-person conspiracy in 1928 to murder a nurse and cover it up.
Even you don't believe this one.
Even you can prevent forest fires.
Pardon me.
Okay. So I don't believe this. Look, I'm a conspiracy guy. I will go to bat for almost anything. The grassy knoll and lizard people, pretty much all of it. But this one, I think this is what happens when a story gets told for 50 years. Each retelling, somebody adds a detail. And by the end, what started as she might have been murdered becomes 4 guys held her down.
You got upgraded, dude.
And honestly, I think the suicide version and the botched abortion version are interesting enough on their own. Version 3 is just telephone embellishment. That's me trying to be honest about what I think. Now, the way that ghost stories accumulate detail over time, it's always adding something every time it gets told. Even us telling these stories, we add a little bit here and there. It's not surprising that it just keeps escalating to the point where, yeah, maybe this girl killed herself. Maybe it was this weird botched abortion thing, but it's not surprising to me at all that it got to this point.
I'm sensing there's someone in this room that
tell me
got some sort of discomfort.
Is it my dog?
I'm hearing a name starting with Someone
Jay.
that was in this room. Yes.
Is it Jay?
It's a Jay. Yes, obviously.
I have an Uncle John and a brother Jason and a brother named Jacob and also another brother named Joseph.
Yeah. So this, all jokes aside, this is how the medium part probably could go down in any situation.
So the fact for over 100 years, nobody has actually been able to verify any of this. 3 different versions with the same death, and not one of them has any documentation, is strange, right? In a hospital where records are like routinely kept. So speaking of records, I have to tell you what I found when I went back to look for Mary Hillenburg in Kentucky's official archives. So, part of the story that I genuinely was not expecting when I started researching this episode, I want to set this up properly. So, in any given U.S. state, when somebody dies, their death is recorded. That's been true since the late 1800s, especially in cities and counties that were on top of their administration game. Kentucky, for the time period we're talking about, 1900 through 2000, kept fairly detailed death records. Cause of death, name, age, county, sometimes their occupation. There are gaps. There are records that get lost, but for the most part, if a person died in Kentucky during the 20th century, there is paperwork.
I'd assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if Mary Hillenburg died at Waverly Hills in 1928, hung from a light fixture in her room, 502, head nurse, 29 years old, there should be a record, a death certificate, her name, her age, the cause of death listed as suicide or accidental or something.
Should be.
So I went looking, and I want to be clear, I'm not the first person to do this. The BuzzFeed Unsolved team did this. The Ghost Hunters production team did this. Multiple paranormal researchers and historians have done this. We all came up with the same thing. There's no record of Mary Hillenburg dying in Kentucky in 1928.
What?
Not in 1928. And not at Waverly Hills. Not anywhere in the state.
Okay, but maybe the records got lost.
Okay.
You said the records got lost.
I thought that too. So I went broader and I checked the Kentucky Death Index for the entire 20th century from 1911, the year like reliable records start, all the way to the year 2000.
The year 2000.
In that 89-year window, there are exactly 2 women with the surname Hillenburg recorded as having died in the state of Kentucky. 2 total.
Out of an entire century.
And an entire county. And what I want to tell you about both of them, because neither one is Mary. The first woman died in 1964, decades after the supposed suicide, decades after Waverly was even doing TB treatment.
Mm-hmm.
The second died in 1988, which is 27 years after Waverly Hills closed entirely.
Neither of these sound like they're Mary from 502, just judging by the years alone.
And also, neither of them is the right age. Neither of them is named Mary, and neither of them died at a hospital that was operating at the time of their death.
Yeah, no shit. It's like fucking 50 years later. I don't understand.
Wrong, so that's the situation. And I want to lay out what the possibilities are, because she doesn't exist is one option, but it's not the only option. Possibility 1, Mary Hillenburg never existed. The whole story is a fabrication that got attached to Waverly Hills somewhere along the way, and the name was just kind of made up.
Well, who would do this? Who would make up a name like this?
Could be a tour guide, could be a journalist, could be somebody who was like you and I, just telling a ghost story around a campfire and that name stuck. I really don't know. Possibility 2, somebody really did die in room 502 in 1928, but her real name wasn't Mary Hillenburg. Maybe she was a nurse, maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was a patient, maybe she went by a different name in records. Maybe she was married and her maiden name was Hillenburg, and she's recorded under her husband's name. Some versions of the story could be real, but the name is wrong. Possibility 3, and this is the one that I find genuinely creepy. Something happened in 502 that was bad enough to leave a scar on the building. People report activity in room 502 from the very early days of the hospital being open to public. Decades of people, totally independent of each other, claiming the same things. Voices, the lights, the "get out" voice. So either there's a really powerful psychological suggestion at play, or something happened in that room and we really just don't know what or to whom.
And we'll never know. Ever.
We'll probably never know. And there's actually a fourth thing that I want to mention, because it's not just Mary. There's a second nurse story tied to room 502.
Of course there is.
In 1932, 4 years after the supposed Mary Hillenburg death, the legend says a second nurse jumped from the 5th floor balcony outside room 502. And the documentation on that one is even worse than Mary's. There's no name, no date beyond something happened in 1932. Some versions say it was suicide. Some versions say she was pushed by the same doctor from the Mary story, allegedly trying to silence another witness.
It was a double murder.
It was a double murder.
A double.
Anyways, it might be. It might be the same story being retold with a different ending, or it might be that whatever happened in room 502 happened twice, and the records on both events were just gone. So that's room 502, and that's where I land on it for what it's worth. I don't think this story is all fabricated. I think the 502 hauntings have been reported too consistently by too many people for me to believe that somebody just made the whole thing up. Something is off about that room, either historically or psychologically, most likely both. But I do think that the Mary Hillenburg version of the story is heavily embellished, possibly outright invented in its name. And the 4-person murder conspiracy is almost certainly someone's wild upgrade. What probably happened, if I had to guess, is that some woman did die in room 502, and some year, under some circumstances that were bad enough to be remembered. And over time, the story attached to that death got names, dates, dramatic details, and a 4-person conspiracy. The signal got buried under the noise. Now, we have a ghost story that we can't separate from truth. Hit me up.
I'm out. So usually the rooms are haunted in places because the story went unsolved, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a case of a place that's been unsolved. Like everything is all, yeah. So my theory, just because I'm a junior detective, I was anointed that in the 5th grade. Yeah.
I would say you have your badge.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously. This doctor killed both women. This doctor probably slept with both women, but he's that high up in the hospital and or the city that they completely covered the whole thing up and didn't even announce their deaths. So my question is, did anyone look up if Mary Hillenburg was alive? Like, did they look at birth certificates? Did they make sure that this person was a nurse when that happened?
From what I could see from what I was able to look into is that there's not even a person alive in Kentucky at this point that has that name. Yeah, there's no record of it.
Maybe she was born in another state. Maybe I don't know.
I think it's born in another state.
I think it's a cover up. I think that doctor's a piece of shit.
I think you're right.
Back to our regular our regular scheduled thing you were talking about.
I don't even remember where we were. But anyways, that's the dark side of this whole story. That's medical horror. That's the cold case. But now we have something to talk about that's almost worse because it happened way more recently, and it's not about tuberculosis or murders or weird conspiracy shit at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to
Woodhaven.
You think like an 80s metal? Is that what you think of Woodhaven as?
Yeah. Yeah, so he's playing cool guitar, dude.
All right. So I want to handle this part because, frankly, you've been talking for an hour and I'm tired of listening to you.
Yeah, way longer than that.
Yeah. Also, this is the part of the story that doesn't get told as much, and I think that's actually a problem. Because everyone wants to talk about the TB area, the 1930s, the body shoot, the rib removal, the haunted nurse. That's the sexy part of Waverly Hills history. If there's such a thing as a sexy part of a tuberculosis hospital.
I think that's one of the worst sentences I've ever heard you say.
The sexy part of a tuberculosis hospital. Thank you. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I will say, though, dude.
Yeah.
You know, Doc Holliday, pretty sexy, man.
Yeah. Remember when I said you're talking too much? You're talking too much.
Okay,
it's my turn.
Keep going.
Waverly Hills did not stop being a place where bad things happened in 1961. The hospital closed as a TB sanatorium in 61, but the building did not sit empty. A year later, in 1962, it reopened under a new name with a new purpose, and the bad stuff that happened in the second life of this building, the part that doesn't make it into the most ghost tours, is in some ways the most disturbing than what happened the first time around.
Why doesn't it make it into the ghost tours?
Because it's not haunted enough. There's no ghost story attached to it. And I think it's because it's recent. Like, you can't do a fun, spooky tour about a hospital from 100 years ago. It's hard to do a fun, spooky tour about something that happened in 1970s because people lived through it and are still alive. Yeah, I disagree.
That is a good point, though.
Yeah, I have them, but I don't know. Jury's still out. So, in 1962, the building reopens as Woodhaven Geriatric Center, sometimes called Woodhaven Medical Services. And the
put up the Jerry's in the chat, dude. Let's get up for the Jerry's.
The official mission of Woodhaven was to provide long-term care for 3 categories of patients: elderly patients with dementias, folks who couldn't live independently anymore, often with no family willing to or able to take care of them.
There's wandering around.
Yeah. Patients with severe physical disabilities, mobility impaired patients who needed full-time care.
Just wandering around.
Patients with severe mental disabilities, adults who, in the language of time, were called things we won't say anymore, people who couldn't function independently and who often have been institutionalized for most of their lives.
Avery, these ones are the retards.
Yeah, exactly. You can't say that.
I didn't.
Yes,
we said we won't say it anymore.
And on paper, this is fine. This is a need. There were people who needed care. Waverly Hills had 180,000 square feet of empty hospitals sitting on a hill outside of Louisville.
It's so big.
Yeah, you mass the supply to the demand. You're reopening the building. You give people jobs. You take care of vulnerable people.
On paper,
the reality was different. The reality was the Woodhaven was understaffed from the day it was opened, underfunded, overcrowded, and in the way that they have documentation for, this isn't speculation. Oh, what did I just do? I lost everything. Oh, God, hold on. The people who went there were treated really bad. No shit.
Okay, so, like, can you define really badly? Like, are we talking about, like, oh, they got, like, prison type food? Or are we talking, like, there are bum fights in the basement kind of thing? is this the kind of thing where there's like a documented investigation, or people whispered this and that type territory?
It's documented. It's the documented kind. There was a grand jury investigation. The state of Kentucky eventually had to step in, and what they found when investigators went to Woodhaven in the late 1970s and early 1980s included, there were official findings. This isn't internet rumor. Patients abuse, patient neglect, severe overcrowding, a cockroach infestation, and what investigators described as an unkept living conditions throughout the facility. Plus, there were medical malpractice findings.
I don't love cockroach infestations in hospitals.
Yeah, but like in the South, you're just going to have cockroaches. That's what happens. Especially if it's underfunded. Like, who's going to take care of those cockroaches?
Yeah, either way, it's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah. And I want to be careful here because we're a horror podcast, and there's a temptation when you're talking about a place like this to lean into the horror, to sensationalize it. And the truth is, the actual day-to-day reality of Woodhaven for the people who lived there was way worse than anything I could ever come up with for a podcast.
What do you mean?
I mean, picture being in your 80s with dementia in a hospital where the staff isn't checking on you. Picture being in a wheelchair, depending on people to feed you, in a place where the staff is so overworked or so checked out that meals don't always come. Picture being a person with a severe mental disabilities with no family advocating for you in a building where investigators found cockroaches in the kitchen. That's not a ghost story. That's just a regular nightmare. The real people lived through in our parents' lifetimes. Some of them.
Can I stop doing this picture thing?
I don't know why you're doing it.
Because I'm picturing it and I really don't like it.
Oh, okay.
You told me to.
I did not. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. And then there were rumors that we didn't have great documentation for it, but that will show up over and over in survivor accounts. Allegation that the staff used physical restraints way more than they probably should have. Mm-hmm. Allegations of over medication, sedating residents who were difficult instead of treating them. Allegations that electroconvulsive therapy was still being used at Woodhaven in the 1970s, late into its run, and on patients who couldn't consent.
Dude, electroshock therapy is fucking metal, literally, but I don't think it should be used on people.
Yeah. You just keep talking about how metal this thing is, dude. Yep. Are you happy that all these people died?
These people didn't die. They were just mostly kept there forever, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And again, I want to flag that one's harder to verify, but it shows up enough in places that I think there's something there.
Okay. Well, so that's a lot. Like, how long did this go on? When I first started on this, was like, oh yeah, here's our little ghost story. And then we have this thing that happens afterwards. And it's way more fucked up than even like the ghost stories part of it.
Yeah. It went on for almost 20 years. The state of Kentucky finally forced Woodhaven to close in either 1981 or 1982. The sources I looked at don't quite agree on the exact year, but after grand jury investigation, the building was shut down. The remaining residents were transferred to other facilities, and Woodhaven as an institution was done.
And the building
sat empty. And that's where the next chapter of bad things happened, because empty hospitals on hilltops in southern Louisville don't stay empty for long. Louisville. From 1982 until 2001, almost 20 years, Waverly Hills was abandoned. No security, no fence to speak of, no occupants, just 180,000 square foot brick monsters sitting on an empty hill, slowly being taken apart by weather, vandals, and time.
Like the biker gang?
Exactly. Time, the biker gang?
Hey, man, that is a good biker gang name, though.
Time?
No, I was thinking the Vandals, but man, Time would be a dope fucking biker gang name.
Great. Anywho, and during these 20 years, the building became a magnet for exactly that kind of activity you'd expect. Kids breaking in to scare each other, vandals, the biker group, or the punk rock band, stripping it for copper, graffiti, drug use, people sleeping there, and one story that's well documented enough to be worth telling, at least one murder.
Okay, so I should caveat here. After having mentioned the vandals and making Jamie believe that they were a real thing, they're not a real thing. In fact, they are a fictional Midwestern motorcycle club featured in the 2024 film The Bike Riders. That is going to be written by Jeff Nichols, and all the music is done by Ben Nichols, aka the Lucero guys and his brother.
Yeah, so, dude, Bike Riders, that song Bike Riders is about the story.
I think it was
that
maybe
movie.
The other way around. I think his brother wrote a movie about the song. Anyways, I don't really know which came first, chicken or the egg. Anyways, Vandals, not a real motorcycle club.
No, it's a real story is what I was trying to tell you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like legitimately like it's a story that that happened in real life, and then I don't know if Jeff Nichols wrote the story about it first or Ben Nichols wrote a story about it, but yeah, there's a book about the person that like goes and follows that whole biker
club
gang. Well, I'm sure it was called the Hells Angels or something like that.
No, it's the Vandals, dude.
Yeah, they changed the name, I'm sure, in the book, but yeah, it's a real story. That makes the song that much cooler when you're like, oh yeah, totally.
Yep, Outlaws. That's what the MC is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if we can say that. Again, legally, we don't sue us or kill us.
We don't have any money.
Yeah, or lives. We don't have those either, so it's not really worth taking it.
All right. So the story is that during the abandoned years, a homeless man was killed in room 502.
502?
502. The same exact room we've been talking about this whole time.
Fucking serious, man.
I wouldn't shit you. You're my favorite turd.
Okay, wait. So we've got the maybe real nurse who maybe died in 1928. We've got the second nurse who maybe jumped from that same balcony in 1932. And now you're telling me we have a confirmed murder in the same room in the 1990s?
That's what I'm telling you, dude.
That's a hell of a room.
That room be killing. It's a hell of a room. That story I've been able to confirm goes that he was killed by some kind of gang or group.
The Vandals.
Accounts vary. Some say drug related, and the body was left in 502. There's also a separate story, which I have less confirmation on, about another homeless man who allegedly died in one of the elevator shafts in the building, along with his dog. During the abandoned years. And that one I cannot verify, but it shows up on multiple accounts of the building and modern hauntings.
I'm not trying to laugh here, but do you think both the guy and his dog died by falling down the elevator shaft? And I have a quick question, follow up. If you fell down an elevator shaft, would you let go of your dog leash?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I just think it's strange that this guy and his dog both fell down the elevator shaft and people see it.
You done?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You got your laughs out. You got your chuckles away.
You got my chucks.
You got my chucks. All right. So the abandoned hospital became a problem for the neighborhood's trope. It's a real thing in America urban history. So many towns have one. The empty psychiatric hospital, the empty mill, the empty TB ward. They become magnets for exactly the kind of activity you expect. And people who live there nearby suffer because nobody wants to invest in tearing them down or repurposing them.
Yeah, we also have like the weird, all of this shit surrounding room 502 specifically. 3 deaths potentially attached to one room about 70 years apart. That's either the unluckiest room in America, or the room is doing something, or is it just the fact that people attach things to certain things when they hear that they're already haunted?
Yeah, it makes sense. The way buildings that have house suffering tend to attract more suffer, whether you believe in residential energy or just in the fact that the empty buildings full of dark history end up being that kind of place where bad stuff just happens. There's always a pattern.
Always. For sure.
So that's Woodhaven. That's the chapter of Waverly Hills history that doesn't get the attention I think it deserves. Because here's the thing. When people talk about why Waverly Hills is haunted, there's always reach for the TB era. The 8,000 deaths, the body shoot, the poor nurse in 502. But I think a lot of the vibe of the building today, the heaviness, the badness, the sense that there's something wrong here, I think a lot of that comes from Woodhaven. And 20 years of an underfunded, understaffed, abusive long-term care facility, followed by 20 more years of an abandoned home where bad things keep happening. That's 40 years of recent darkness layered on top of older darkness. And you can't separate one from another.
That's a really good way to put it.
Thanks, dude. Anyway, I'm done leading. Take it back. You've earned the fun part.
We have earned the fun part because we have spent, 2 hours now?
Yeah. Damn near over.
We spent 2 hours talking about real things that actually happen to real people. And now we get the part we can talk about that nobody can prove and everybody loves, which is actual ghosts. We have the creeper. We have Timmy. We have the little girl with no eyes, the chef, all of it.
So, without further ado.
All right. So we made it. We have done the history. We've done the medical horror, the body shoot, the death toll debunk, the cold cases, the Woodhaven era. We have earned this. We are now going to talk about the actual reason most people know about Waverly Hills, which is it might be the most haunted building in the United States.
Allegedly.
And I will keep saying allegedly, but I will say for a place that I have just spent multiple hours explaining, it is not what people think it is. There's a lot of consistent activity reported here by a lot of different people across decades, some of which I cannot easily explain.
And we love that.
So let's go floor by floor. I'll take the entities, the named ghost. You take these experiences, the stuff that people see and hear without names attached. The big one, the one I want everyone to know about. Because if you only remember one ghost from this episode, make it this one.
I love the creeper.
The creeper is, and I want you to picture this, a shadowy humanoid figure that instead of walking, crawls on the walls, on the ceiling. People have reported it multiple times across multiple decades. It's not a vague shadow person. They describe it specifically as a thing with arms and legs that moves across surfaces it should not be moving along. It is the most horror movie monster I have ever heard described in real life. Like if you told me that's the antagonist of a movie that came out last weekend, you'd believe me. But it's reported as a genuine sighting at Waverly. Reportedly.
Repeatedly. What floor?
Okay. Mostly on the 4th floor. But there are reports of other floors too. The creeper does not appear to be confined to one location, which, if you believe in this stuff, is kind of unusual. Most reported entities at haunted locations are tied to a specific room or a specific floor. The creeper moves around.
It's hunting.
Don't say that. The 3rd floor. The kids' wing, where the pediatric TB patients were. You know, the kids that are all really sad because they're dying. There are 2 named entities up there. Timmy, a young boy around 5 or 6 who's reportedly playful and curious, like a cat. That's why his friends call him Whiskers. The classic Timmy story is that visitors leave a ball somewhere on the 3rd floor. They walk away, And when they come back, the ball has rolled or moved on its own. There's a darker variant of Timmy's story where he allegedly fell down an elevator shaft and died. Same thing as the homeless guy. Police ruled it an accident at the time, but some sources speculate he was pushed.
I think if someone said fell down an elevator shaft and lived, I'd find that more shocking than fell down an elevator shaft and died.
And died.
Just so you know.
What a terrifying ending.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yep. If you fall through an elevator shaft, you probably die. There's like not good things at the bottom. I know that from watching Mission Impossible.
Cool. I'm fine, dude.
Anyways, the other one is a little girl with no eyes. Same floor. People report seeing a young girl, sometimes through windows, sometimes in hallways, with empty eye sockets. That's it. Just the entire description. No name, no story. Just a child with no eyes.
The children with no eyes.
Okay. So then we jump to the kitchen on the first floor. Has been a wreck for decades. Stripped of equipment, wires and walls falling apart. There's no power. But people who walk through it report two things consistently. One, the smell of fresh baked bread in a kitchen that has not produced food since the early 1980s.
That is generally creepy.
And two, a man in a white chef's coat wandering around, sometimes seen, sometimes just sensed. People who don't know the lore have walked through, smelled the bread, and asked the tour guide, is someone cooking?
That's one that got me. Out of all of them, the chef is the one that I think about.
Why is that?
Because every other ghost on this list is here because something terrible happened to them. The creeper, the kids, the nurse. Those are traumatic stories. The chef is just a guy who liked his job way too much, and he still is doing his job. And he's a sweet ghost, dude, and that ghost with hobbies.
Hey, they say, make your hobby your job and you'll never work a day in your life. Or your death.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. So those are named ghosts. Now I want to talk about the stuff people report that doesn't have a name attached, because there's a lot of it. And some of it's most unsettling stuff in the building. The get out voice that you've been talking about this whole time.
Yep.
Disembodied. Reported in room 502 specifically. Multiple people across multiple decades. Always those two words. Get out.
Get out.
Get out.
Get.
So lights turning on in 502. When the building is empty, Tina Mattingly, who owns the property, has reporting seeing this from outside the building when she knows that nobody is in there. So she sees the lights flickering at least once or twice a night. So shadow figures in the windows, particularly the fifth floor windows viewed from outside the building. And then Ring Around the Rosie. Children's voices singing on the rooftop solarium where pediatric TB patients did their heliotherapy. The plague song in the place where kids died of the plague. Down. Next is the trench coat man, a tall figure with long, frizzy hair, wearing a long coat. Sometimes seen in the elevator doorways, often occupied by a white dog, possibly tied to the homeless man and dog who allegedly died in the elevator shafts.
Is it Kurt Russell? We'll never know.
No, is he still alive?
I don't know.
I think so. Right. So footsteps and voices and the body shoot. So basically every paranormal investigation ever conducted of Waverly has gotten audio from this tunnel.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah, so slamming doors, shoves, and physical contact. Multiple investigators and visitors have reported being shoved, scratched, or pushed in 502 specifically. And the thing is that I think makes Waverly stand out, for what it's worth, in this very subjective field, is the consistency. People who have never, ever met each other, who didn't even know that the other person had reported, have walked into this building over 50 years and reported the same thing. Same locations, same behaviors. And either really compelling or really suggestible. I'm not telling you which one's which.
Okay. Jamie, you have more experience with this than I do. I would love to feel a haunting, but do you think, like, have you ever been to a place specifically that you knew was haunted and, like, felt something?
No, but I shit you not. I went to the museum, the art museum here in Philly with my mom the other day.
Yeah.
And we went into a room with there was just portrait paintings in the entire room. And I walked in and my entire body went flush. And I just kind of felt like I was just kind of faint or just outer body. And I looked up and there's just this painting of maybe an 8-year-old girl from the 1850s. And I just look over and it's just kind of stared at me. And I was I told my mom, I was I definitely feel something there's something
Weird.
in this room that I don't know how to explain.
Did she try to seduce you?
No, I doubt it. I'm sure she was just a ghost stuck in her painting and she wanted out. She wasn't hey there, sexy man.
How do you free a ghost from a painting? I don't know, dude. I'm assuming that's how they get released.
Don't joke about this is why no ghost will ever show itself to you. It's because you're always joking all the time about
I'm just a big time joker guy.
Yeah.
I know. But I don't know. I get that feeling every now and then too, where you're in somewhere that feels weird. You're I don't really know what this is. I've never had a ghost specifically that I can remember blow up in my face kind of thing, but I can be oh, there's something very off about this place.
I lost where we're at.
Anyways, okay, so we're going to do a really quick segment because Waverly Hills wouldn't be famous without television. So let's give credit where, unfortunately, credit is due. The big 4 shows that put this place on the map. Okay.
I'm listening.
We have Ghost Hunters, the original sci-fi show, the OG of this whole genre. They did Waverly in 2006. The investigator Grant Wilson claimed to see a full-body apparition. They captured what looked like a humanoid shape darting across the hallway. Then they came back in 2007 for Ghost Hunters Halloween Live. 6 straight hours broadcasting live from the building on Halloween night. Hosted again by Josh Gates, who was just Josh Gates at the time before he became Josh Gates of Destination Truth and Expedition Unknown. Do you know Josh Gates?
Yeah, I've watched that show a few times. He's
okay.
Kind of Indiana Jones. He goes and checks out different tombs and shit like that. It's pretty cool.
Does it belong in a museum? Does he say that a lot?
I don't watch it that much to know.
Oh, okay. No, so anyways, the one that I actually really do know is Ghost Adventures, and that's Zach Bagans, Nick Groff, Aaron Goodwin. Now, they did Waverly in 2010. Famous for Zach climbing into the morgue body cooler. Yes, that exists. And yes, he did climb in and reported an overwhelming exhaustion that he had, that he pretty much was supposed to be in there for a certain amount of time and then tapped out. Now, they claim to capture an EVP saying, "Remember me," in room 502. They came back for an Aftershocks episode in 2016.
So the next is BuzzFeed Unsolved. So Ryan Bergetta and Shane Madge. Why do I always get the hard ones? Made. I don't know. You always give me these ones. So in 2017, Ryan believes Shane is a demon slayer. You know the bit. This was actually one of the better research paranormal episodes ever made about Waverly. Bergera's team did the actual records, and they check on Mary Hillenburg that was referenced in Act 5. They are part of the reason the name doesn't hold up.
Now, the last one is Ghost Files, the Watcher version. Now, again, Ryan and Shane Madej revisited Waverly for the series premiere after they left BuzzFeed. The same guys, it was mostly just a higher production budget, but way more seen than their BuzzFeed Unsolved videos.
And there are the honorable mentions. Paranormal Lockdown visited. 2 extremely bad direct-to-DVD horror movies were filmed there. Death Tunnel and Spooked. Don't watch them.
Don't watch them?
Or do. There's nothing wrong with bad horror. You love bad horror.
I love bad horror. You don't like it? I feel like
I love it.
I don't feel like we necessarily disagree here. I think that there's something almost like comical about bad horror that makes it almost endearing. I don't know if I've seen either of those movies, but I can say that like I would 100% say they're worth watching, even if it's bad. That's TV. 5 different shows, multiple decades, all turning Waverly into the internet famous haunted location that it is today. Everyone you know who's heard of this place, they've heard of it from one of these sources. That's Waverly Hills, the whole story, or as much of the story as we could get into the episode without keeping you here for 3 hours, which we're going to do anyways.
We just did.
Yep. And we've done that before, and which we're trying to stop doing. But here's the thing that I want to land on before we get to where the building is now. We started this episode by talking about the body chute, about a system the hospital built to hide death from dying people. And the whole reason we keep coming back to that detail, the reason it's the cold open, the reason it's the Act 3 anchor is because it tells us what Waverly Hill actually was. It wasn't a horror movie set. It was a place where doctors and nurses spent 50 years trying with bad tools and worse odds to keep people alive. They built a tunnel for the dead so the living could keep hoping. They believed hope was medicine. And in some cases, it might have been the only medicine they had.
And then the second life of the building, Woodhaven, was the opposite of that. A place that was supposed to take care of people and didn't.
Yeah. 2 completely different operations in the same building. And one was, for all its brutality, built around the idea of caring for people. And the other one wasn't.
Hell of a contrast.
It is. And I think that when people talk about Waverly being haunted, they're picking up on both of these things at once. The grief of the first life and the neglect of the second life, layered on top of each other in the same brick building on the same hill.
So, today, this building is still standing. And honestly, it's a small miracle because there was a lot of years where it was probably going to get torn down. So after Woodhaven closed in the early 1980s, there was multiple plans for the property that just fell through. Somebody wanted to turn it into a prison. They got killed by neighborhood protests. Somebody wanted to turn it into luxury condos. That didn't happen. And then in 1996, and this is one of my favorite details in the entire research files.
Is this the Jesus statue?
This is the Jesus statue.
Yeah.
In 1996, a guy named Robert Alberhansky proposed turning Waverly Hills into a Christian theme park. Centerpiece would be a 150-foot statue of Jesus on the roof. They wanted to call it the largest Jesus statue in North America. Total budget for the project, $18 million. They started fundraising. After 1 year, they raised $3,000.
$3,000?
Kind of short of the $18 million they were going for.
Mega church turned to mega fail.
Mega theme park. Mega fail. Yes. And the project died and sat empty for another 5 years. And then in 2001, it was bought by a couple named Charlie and Tina Mattingly for $250,000.
That's crazy.
For a 180 square foot historic building on a hilltop, that is nothing.
Do we know how many bathrooms there were?
40, I thought you said.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So the Mattinglys are the one who turned this place into the haunted attraction that we know today.
They are. They run the historical tours during the day, paranormal tours at night. Overnight investigation for groups, which start around $1,000, annual haunted house fundraisers for restoration. And they have used that money, and this matters, to put a new roof on the building, replacing the windows, installing a sprinkler system, abate the asbestos tile. The whole long-term plan is to turn it into a hotel and a convention center one day. But until then, ghost tourism is what keeps the building from falling apart.
Which, in its own right, is a complicated thing.
It's a very complicated thing because on one hand, the Madeleines are profiting off of the building where real people suffered. And on the other hand, they have bought into in 2001 Waverly Hills would not be standing today if it wasn't for them. It would be a parking lot or condos.
So you're saying that ghost tourism saved the entire building?
Absolutely. Ghost tourism saved the building. That's the truth. Whether you find it beautiful or that kind of thing, or a dark thing, probably depends on what kind of mood you're in.
So if you're ever in Louisville and you want to take a tour, the address is 4301 East Pages Lane. They run them most of the year. Day tours are pretty cheap. Night tours are more. If you want to run an overnight investigation like Jamie and I sure do, that'll run you $1,000 for a group of up to 10 people.
And if you go on the night tour and the tour guide tells you about the bleeding train room,
don't say anything.
Just smile.
Just smile, because we ruined that one for you, and we are not sorry. That's our episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. If you like this one, the best thing you can do for us is share it with somebody who likes ghosts, true crime, drinking, or all three. You can find us wherever you get podcasts. Leave us a review if you're feeling generous. Send us a message if you've got a story we should cover or a place we should investigate.
Or just tell us we're wrong about something.
Or just to tell us we're wrong. Yeah, we read it, and we may or may not change our minds.
Probably not.
Probably not. But until next time, Jamie, take it away.
Please stay weird.
And stay wicked. And stay wasted.